Good evening. With Dan, Menti, and Hassan. You're here for the pre-match show. You'll have to bear with me 1 second. I have a fourth member. It's just going to add him onto the screen. So just give me 1 second before I get fully into it. So it's a full house this evening. Diddler for overlay. Rigo when he's ready. I'll just pop him into the stage. So you are with Dan, Hassan, Menti, and Rigo. We're going to be previewing the Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest match. We are back. 2 weeks internationals have flown by for some, and for me, they haven't. A successful international break for Liverpool players, barring just the one with the poor injury for Harvey Elliott, which is really unfortunate, but a number of good minutes. So we're going to discuss that. I want you to be involved in the chat for me. Get yourselves in the comments. I want to hear your predictions for the game. I want to see your lineups. I want to hear what you've got to say about what's going to be going forward in these games. So, Rigo, nice to have you on, mate. Thanks for joining. How's it feel to be back talking about Liverpool with something to discuss? Oh, and he's gone. Menti, I'll jump to you, my mate. Same question to yourself then. How are you feeling about the Reds being back healthy in the vast majority, which is really important? Take it you're looking forward to seeing us back at Anfield again.
Yeah, I'm very excited. And the keyword that you said was like healthy. It's been like a long time when we go on international break and all of our players come in good shape. Very excited. We're for sure gonna see, a different squad, possibly like you alluded to earlier. So I'm kind of excited for the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. We'll go into that. We'll have a little discussion over that one. Hassan, thanks very much for joining me. First time we've chatted in the comments and chatted in the WhatsApp. First time we've been on together. Your thoughts? Looking forward to seeing us back. What have you been missing? What have you been looking forward to seeing from us? Because I can't wait. I can't stand international football.
Yeah, exactly the same. Yeah, it's I think first time with you and Rigo as well. I've done a lot of streams with Menti, so it's nice to see new faces. So
That's it.
I think uh, yeah, international break is just boring, and we are just praying with each passing day that our players are healthy and they come back. Especially with England, we had really bad ones over the years. So only Harvey Elliott is a bit unfortunate. I was looking forward to seeing him as well. Maybe would have got chance in Champions League and Carabao Cup. So, it's some positive news of Curtis Jones coming back and Chiesa getting match fit. So I think now the run of games will be thick and fast. So it will be interesting and exciting to see.
That's absolutely right. 22 days, 7 matches. So that's going to be quite intense over the next 22 games. Plenty of football to be played. I think we're going to see some serious rotation. Rigo, great to have you on, mate. Thanks very much for joining me. Again, just same question to yourself. We're back. Liverpool back on the TV, back on live at Anfield, fully fit, barring one player. How are you feeling? How are you feeling about the game coming up?
Feeling great, to be quite honest. Everything we've seen so far with Slots Liverpool leads one to believe he's prepared and planned things out. Everyone seems calm. But, I'm super calm about everything. So I think he's had plenty of time to game out what he's going to do to Nottingham Forest. Issue again, as Hassan alluded to, is fitness. Who came back fit from the international break. Luckily, a player who hasn't factored into the starting 11, but would have been part of the rotation during these 7 matches of 22 days. Harvey Elliott's the only one to come back hurt, but I think we're raring to go. Very interested to see how he's going to use the players at his disposal. During the press conference today, he alluded to the fact that a selection is going to be tight. There's 20 healthy players. Obviously, you can't take all 20. You can't list all 20 in your match day squad. So interesting to see what choices he makes. But yeah, very excited for it. It's at 10 a.m. my time here in the States. It'll be right after me coaching my U10 team with my son involved. So hopefully we win that match and then followed up by victory by Liverpool and start off 4-0. So look very excited for it.
That sounds very good to me. Got a bit of feedback off somebody there, guys. Okay, sorry. So John has put a comment in. Hi guys, do you think Chiesa will be in the squad for the game tomorrow? And do you think he can play both sides of the front three? I'll throw that straight to Hassan. Question answers for that one, please.
Yeah, I think he will be in the squad. Maybe he'll come on in this match. I have a feeling that in Italy against AC Milan, he'll start.
Menti, same question to yourself, really, from John there. Chiesa, do you think he's going to be in the? Would you think he's going to be in the squad tomorrow? And do you reckon he's going to have the ability to play on both sides of the front three?
Yeah, he for sure has the ability to play anywhere in the front three. Yeah, I could see him being in the squad at the end of the day. It's up to the slot. He might get like 15, 10 minutes. I don't expect him to get like 30 minutes or anything crazy. But yeah, we could see a change to the front three for sure this weekend.
100%. Enrico, same question to yourself, and I'll give my verdict on that one.
I have two kind of thoughts on this. Obviously, match fitness. He's been training with the U21s while they were on break, and obviously involved with the first squad once they came back. But one of the commentators put on here, can he play on both sides? I think actually he can play across all three spots in slot setup. He did play plenty of center forward last season with Juventus. So and they did do extra time yesterday. During practice, Chiesa, Jota, as well as Nunez. Some nice highlights there on the inside training. So, yeah, I'd be considering he's the only signing during the summer transfer window that's actually part of the squad this season. I think, especially the match being at Anfield, that they'd like to roll him out with the matchday squad as opposed to just waving from the stands.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think Chiesa, to be honest with you, I think he'd go and work in the kitchens just to be involved. I've never seen a man who's more happy to be involved in Liverpool Football Club than maybe I would be, to be honest, because he's nothing but a smile on his face. You see the videos of him going down Lower Breck Road, and he's like this, wow, look at all this. And I've never seen anyone so happy to be involved in a football club. And it's what you want to see, isn't it? And to say where he can play, yes, he is a right-footed left winger, per se, when most of his minutes come into it. But he's capable of playing just about anywhere. He can play in the 10, he can play as a 9, he can play in a 2 as an up front, he can play on the right wing. I think a lot of us believe he's probably going to be playing on the right wing because we have plenty of cover on that left-hand side with Gakpo, who doesn't get a lot of minutes. Oh no, what's happened?
Whatever.
Go ahead. Let's continue the combo while Dan gets up and running. So as far as position-wise, Hassan, do you think he can play both wing spots or across all three? What's your line of thinking as to what slots think Chiesa?
I think his preferred position is on the left wing, but I think he played on the right side for Italy in the Euros, and he was really good there.
Sorry, I don't know. I've been ejected from my own stream, for God's sake. Sorry, everyone. We are professional here. We know what we're doing. Sometimes it works for us. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Chiesa absolutely can play on both sides. I think he can play right wing. I think he's probably going to get maybe more minutes than per se sort of he would be on the left-hand side, because you would say Gakpo, as much as is the second fiddle, is still should be the second fiddle over on that left-hand side, because he's not getting the minutes because Luis Diaz is obviously playing so well. He could play up front in case of Jota, but why would you? Because Darwin Núñez isn't getting the minutes. So Darwin Núñez is going to be the person who takes the minutes. So logically, the two positions that you would argue are the 10, because Harvey Elliott is now injured. You would have kind of say, well, that's where he could fit in there playing behind, which is something he's done before. And then you could really feasibly, it's a right wing, isn't it? Because when we brought Elliott on as a right wing, we lose the pace, where Chiesa has pace to burn. Even after the injury, still a player is capable of, putting in that big shift. He is two-footed. He is right-footed predominantly, but he has got a very good left foot on him for a player who's right-footed. So I think that we do see 15, 20 minutes of Federico Chiesa, hopefully in a situation where he doesn't have to come on to score a goal, to create a goal, to be, part of the winning part of it. It's just so much to give Salah a bit of a break and a bit of a rest, to be honest, because otherwise we're not going to get very much of that, are we, for Mo Salah and for a number of our players. So yeah, have a look through here. Rigo, yeah, I think Freddie can play across the front three. Absolutely can. A question I don't want to answer though, which I'm going to put as Paul there. Do you think Matip will go to West Ham? I hope not. I really hope he doesn't. I don't want to see Joel Matip going on mazy runs against us. He only does them for us, I'm afraid. I couldn't take seeing Joel Matip. No context, Joel Matip in a West Ham kit. I couldn't take it. I could not hack it.
I wouldn't mind it, honestly. I just like to actually see one of our former players actually kick on and stay in the Premier League. Obviously, everyone has gone on to different leagues and has not had any type of semblance of success post Liverpool. But Joel always gave his best free transfer money can buy. And yeah, I wouldn't mind it, honestly.
Yeah, do you know what? It's interesting, actually. There's very few players who you could say ever actually go on to greater things than Liverpool normally when they've joined us or left us. It's a point where they just basically get worse. The only player who's remained constant is, of course, James Milner, who will still be playing football in the next 10 years at the highest level, because the man is just an insane fitness beast. But yeah, I don't want to see Joel Matip back in the Premier League. It would break my heart, to be honest with you. I'd rather see him playing in the Bundesliga or somewhere like that. But best luck to him. He deserves to be playing football, and I'm glad that he's still got people on the options available to him after his ACL. I was a great abdicator actually on this channel of saying I think we should have given him another year. I think we should have kept him on for one more year because he got the injury while with us. It's only fair that you say to him, listen, here's the offer. If nothing else comes in, you're not going to be without wages, for what you've done. But he's clearly decided that it was time to part ways and go on to something else. Some interesting comments actually in the whilst Quavim Kelleher was away, but also was addressed in the pre-conference, was his thoughts on what he mentioned about the offers had come in, and it's not always up to him as to the decisions that were made. He wanted to play first team football. I'll throw this one out to Menti. Kelleher's clearly a first choice goalkeeper at basically most Premier League clubs, even some that are in the top four, you would suggest. I don't think it worries me hearing him talking like this, but do you think it just basically means the writing's on the wall for next season, that this is absolutely there's no coming back here, it's done?
Yeah, like Slot said in the press conference, I don't think he's coming back next year. Like, they literally already signed a new goalkeeper coming in. The thing is, usually whenever players are in this situation, like, it sounds a little bit crazy, but I kind of don't feel sorry for them because you chose to sign that extension, so you knew what you signed up for. That's how I look at it. It's a business at the end of the day. But I think he knows he's going to leave next summer. You're getting paid weekly to just sit on the bench, come in for the cup games, etc. So I think it's going to be good, but I mean, I'm not too worried about it. They're not going to let him go in January, but for sure next summer I could see him going early.
Yeah, 100%. And Slot's exact words were, and I'm regaling. I mean, I would be really worried if a player says he doesn't care about first team football and wants to stay on the bench the rest of their life. But it's normal at a club like this that has more than 11 players. Quavin has shown him already. He himself is ready when we need him. I think that this is unfortunately for Quavin Kelleher is that he's been the victim of, unfortunately. He is absolutely worth 25, 30 million pounds as a goalkeeper. I think we can all agree on that one. And I don't think anyone would sit there and say that that's our Liverpool bias. We want this massive fee for him, because there's evidence on the table that goalkeepers like Aaron Ramsdale was 25 million or whatever it was. And David Raya, for example, was 30 million pounds. I don't think either of those goalkeepers are very much better, if not better at all, than what Quavin Kelleher is. Just unfortunately, for some reason, nobody has come in. And the offer that was put on the table, which James Pearce had mentioned, was 7 million plus Matt Turner, which was, I mean, I'd say that's insulting of a player of Kelleher's ability. It's just a case of, unfortunately, like Menti says, you think Menti's correct in saying, you signed the deal, you're at one of the best clubs in the country, and you're a goalkeeper. Unfortunately, only one of you can play. Sorry, Rigo.
Is that oh, okay. Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Them's the breaks. Unfortunately, he's had enough success and shown ability that he is worthy of a starting spot across a mid to big club. Honestly, because his performances in these tournaments and in the Premier League while Alisson was out last year should further cement proof that he is a starting keeper. The unfortunate thing though is that he probably has a few teams eliminated already who might be interested in his services because we wouldn't do business with them outright. And at the same time, having 3 years left on this contract at the start of summer this year, next year, and then it expires in 26, kind of has the weight of scales as far as negotiation on Liverpool's side. If a team can't offer what he's worth in a transfer fee, why would it make sense for Liverpool to let him go when he's been so valuable to us when Alisson has been out and during these cup runs? So I was fortunate enough to see him in person when Liverpool played Arsenal during the summer, and he's superb on the ball. He's gotten much better at shot stopping, and any team would be confident with him as their number one, I would say. I'm super surprised, honestly, that Brighton hasn't gone in for him, but they have made investments already in the goalkeeping spot at a cheaper scale, buying from non-PL teams. So it's unfortunate, but them's the breaks. Likely next summer, obviously with Mamardashvili being signed. But hey, when called upon, he'll be a professional, as Slot said.
Yeah, that's it. And he's been available for us when we've needed him to be available for us, and I thought he's performed brilliantly. But the difficulty is the realities in front of you, isn't it? Is that the best goalkeeper this club has ever had, and perhaps the best goalkeeper in the Premier League, at least in my opinion, is in front of you. And it's not to say that he's not had his opportunities or he's not been able to show the world, especially other clubs, his ability and what he's capable of doing. It shocks me that no one's come in for him, not just in the Premier League, but across Europe, for example. I mean, ultimately, every club would know that he is for sale, and the price would probably be in the 25 to 30 million mark, I would say, somewhere in around there, maybe low 20s with some form of other bits and pieces added on. Could be, what would get him out of the club. I think Liverpool would be happy to say that thanks for the service, thanks for what you've given us, and we can obviously work towards the future we have with Giorgio Mamardashvili, who is clearly going to become our new number two, and that might be from internal rumblings from Quivine Kelleher and about wanting to leave. But the offers haven't been there, and the club is absolutely right in not going, well, yeah, we'll accept £7 million for you just because it makes you feel better because you want to go and play in the first team. We're not going to accept that because it sets a precedent that the club will be, well, basically we'll let players go for next to nothing. And then what happens is in the future, they come to you and say to you, oh, well, we'll give you less. And then it's just difficult to do business. Sometimes you just got to walk away and say, no, sorry, we're not selling. And it shocked me that we haven't seen offers. I thought a number of clubs would have been involved for him, and it just hasn't happened. But he will get opportunities. League Cup is around the corner. The FA Cup will be around the corner. I hope and don't think Arne Slot will take them as seriously. I don't think he should. I think the importance is Premier League and Champions League. The other two, bonus. The best years under Jurgen Klopp were when we didn't take those seriously. When we started taking the League Cup and the FA Cup more seriously, we suffered in other ways. Coincidence, maybe, but to be honest with you, in my opinion, it's all about the Premier League and the Champions League. The other two are an absolute bonus for us. So I was just looking in there. Someone said about his wages. Yeah, he's on £10,000 a week. Not uncommon for a young goalkeeper as a second choice. Their wages generally go from attackers are paid the most, midfielders, defenders, goalkeeper in that order. So, yeah, that's pretty much the normal roll around that one. We'll go on to that one quickly. Did anyone see that? Yes, we'll talk about this while we're before we do our match lineup predictions. Did anyone see the news that Mbappe agreed personal terms with us in 2022? He even talked about us wanting to get him to get him 5 years ago. He wanted to play for us. Menti, your opinions on Mbappe 2022? Did you think it was real?
No, I'm just sick of this FSG PR, bro. It's like every time when the window is closed, we're like having success. It's some bullshit that you usually see. I'm like, 200 mil for him to go to Madrid in like a year or two makes no sense. I'm like, I just don't like it. I think it's like a PR thing. I don't know who started that, but that's terrible. Like he literally said, "I'll play for you, but I have to go to Madrid." There's no way Liverpool are going to bid 200 million for that. So I do not see this as a real thing. I hate it though. It's definitely a PR thing.
Rigo, tell me your opinions on Mbappe 2022. Did you believe it? Are you all in?
Who the F cares? Yeah, I don't. Like it's so totally irrelevant that it's like that was at the height of boredom in between the international break. At that point, matches had already finished and dudes were traveling already back to their respective teams. So let's talk about it. Who cares at this point? Let him. He's at Real Madrid. We'll see them in the CL. By our luck, we'll probably see him in the CL final, but hopefully we'll reverse the results for once against them there. But yeah, who cares? Non-story to me. I'm so excited about this team.
Yeah, definitely. And finally, I'll go with you, Hassan. You must be somebody who believes this. Was the deal agreed of £166 million, and we were going to agree that he was going to be able to go to Real Madrid when he fancied? Sounds like a Liverpool thing to do.
Now I'm glad if there's some truth in it. It was it didn't happen because the wages and everything would have upset many players here who are already here. He would have come in and demanded more fees than wages than Salah and Virgil van Dijk, who have been here at are legends here. So I think in retrospect, it's better that it never happened. Uh, and yeah, I agree with Rigo that when there was no news, they had to generate something and keep people on talking. And I knew Menti will bring up the FSG PR thing.
I'll never have any FSG slander in here. This is they are our new founding fathers. What are you talking about? They are our deliverers. They brought us from administration to where we are now. I'll never have any of that. Right. Anyway, less of that. So, boys, Arne Slot over the last 3 games has played basically the same team, pretty much. It is the same team, isn't it? Other than Jarell Kwanzaa for 45 minutes, it's been the same squad starting. I'm going to go around the room and I want to hear from you. Are we seeing any changes? Do you think Curtis Jones comes in for Alexis McAllister? We all remember Alexis McAllister that had come back from playing on a mountain last international break when he first signed for us against Wolves and looked like he just stopped being able to breathe and couldn't play football anymore. Do you think that could happen? Do we see Chiesa coming in? Do we see any changes? Does Nunez get his first start? I want to hear, boys. The floor is open.
Well, Slot does have a reputation of kind of sticking to a set lineup. So tomorrow will be very, very interesting to see how he lines up. Jota did play a full 90 his last match with Portugal. Much less travel for him as compared to our friends that have to travel to South America, for example. As far as McAllister, that's probably the one they should err on the side of caution. Just to be on the safe side. But the great thing is that they're heavily involved with obviously the physio department, and they have their own measurables there as far as what limitations a player can go through. They have no issues pulling, not even including them in the match day squad if they're not going to be up for it. So, and what we've seen obviously with Trent coming off at the 70-minute mark when leading. Very, very, very smart. So I would hope they take the smart decision. I probably would keep the same just because, again, momentum. My whole belief with things are you ride the hot hand. Obviously, not when you have back-to-back matches, but they've been sufficiently off already, I think, to be able to kind of roll with the same squad.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Hassan, do you see any changes? Do you see Curtis Jones getting his first start? He's fully fit. He's worked hard. Unfortunately, got that little injury before it all sort of the season kicked off. Little hamstring, groin injury, whatever it was all kept quite quiet. Do you think maybe he starts, Alexis McAllister finishes? Is that possible? Do you see that being a reasonable change?
Yeah, and Nottingham Forest at home, I think there's some room for maybe Endo can come in also, because he has been at the he he's match fit, and he was on the bench on 3 games. I think he can come in, uh, and Curtis can also start. Maybe Curtis is not match fit right now, so I can see a one or two, as Rigo mentioned, that it will be discussed with the sports medical staff, and maybe they will suggest that some player needs to take some rest.
That's pretty fair. Menti, your opinions? Any changes to that front line or any part of the team? To be totally honest with you, because I think the back five picks itself. To be totally honest, I think it's more midfield and attack where potentially there could be some changes. Do you see any changes coming in, or do you think Slot just says we'll stick with what we've got and then maybe make those changes mid game?
I think for me, I think he might start with like one in the midfield, maybe one in the attack, just because we have Champions League coming up. I feel like he's going to use a stronger squad for the end of the week. So I could see them coming in like maybe in the 60th minute, get like 30 minutes, 40 minutes around that time. For McAllister, I remember that time too last year when he did the same thing. So for me, I think he's going to just have to have a talk with his staff and Alexis himself, saying, "Hey, like, how you feeling? We got to do this, but we need you for Champions League." So that's a game time decision. But for me, I think Nunes might start this week just because he's been just sitting there for 2 weeks, healthy, suspended. So let him run. I mean, I'd rather have Jota be fully fit for the Champions League. And for me, Jota, if we have him the whole season, I mean, that could be a big difference, because don't worry, I'm a huge Darwin fan, but sometimes, like, his donkey behaviors come and he just misses goals, and it makes me so angry, and like I'll always support him, but I'd rather have Jota just because Jota's a poacher and we need that sometimes. So
Yeah, it's interesting. There are three Darwin stands here: Rigo, Menti, and I don't know where do you stand, Dan?
no, I don't mind him, but I could tell you he has flaws. Like when he came in Liverpool, like the midfield wasn't great. Like it was like, I don't know. It is what it is. I'm not making excuses for him, but he does miss. It is what it is. He creates chances, but he misses way more. But for me, I feel like Slot will end up, developing better, because a new manager could always help players. It happens in sports, so hopefully it happens for us. But for me, I think he might let just Darwin play and secure Jota for the Champions League, because the games that are coming up are going to be a little bit easy for us. I feel like after the next break, we need Jota for those games. Like these next 7 games, I feel like you could put in Curtis Jones for Alexis McAllister. We're at home. You got the crowd behind you. I feel like we'll see how it goes, but I mean, I trust the staff. So far, so good. So I can't complain.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it this way. Diogo Jota played 190 during the Euros because he came on for about 3 minutes, didn't he, in the first match when Ronaldo scored his 900th goal or whatever it was. So he's had 190, which is good for us. Kept him fit, kept him match fit, but not too many minutes on the legs. A number of players who are our bench options got a full 90. Costa Simicas got 2 90s. Jarell Kwanzaa got 2 90s. Really good for us. Connor Bradley got 2 90s, which is really nice, because if these players aren't getting the minutes so much with us, going away with obviously with the international teams means that they're staying that match fit and they're getting a little bit more experience. So there was some positives that came out of it. It's hard for me to sit there and say that I can say with chest that I think he'll make a number of changes, because I just don't think he will. I think Rigo was right. As a manager, he likes to not break what isn't broken, from what I can see. Like he'll fix when he sees a problem. He saw a problem with Kwanzaa not winning aerial duels. He made a change. Ever since then, things have worked perfectly fine for us, and he'll keep it rolling. He'll have to take the information, obviously, from the players, from the medical staff, as rightfully mentioned. They go into something called red zones, which basically each player will obviously have a situation where they'll go, Jota's red zone might be much bigger because of his injury record. Virgil van Dijk's might be smaller because he doesn't have a major injury record. So they'll obviously look at each player and say, he's okay. Maybe bench option, maybe has to come off for 60 minutes and all this kind of stuff. But as a starting 11, if everyone feels comfortable, if everyone feels okay, everyone feels like they are fully fit enough, I don't think we change the 11. I don't think there's a change to the 11. I think we'll use all 5 subs. I'm confident in that he will use all 5. I think Chiesa will play at some point. I think he'll get 15, 20 minutes. I think we're all desperate to see him. I think Anfield will be desperate to see him. To be totally honest with you, and it'll be a really nice boost to bring on a player like that. As I say, hopefully these substitutes will have to come when we're 2-0 up at half time, have the job basically done, and then be able to use the common phrase of rest on the ball, which is something we were able to do in the last couple of games, which should keep us fitter for longer. Good question, actually, which I'll come on to, which is why I'm kind of where I'm at, is that thoughts on the Champions League format, and I think you boys will all know in the chat, but for those of you who may not be used to the Swiss system, 8 games, 4 home, 4 away. There is no rest. There is no opportunity where we can sit here and say to ourselves, well, we can make changes for the AC Milan game, or we can make changes for this match, or whatever. I honestly feel like the only time that Liverpool have an opportunity to make changes is when they are qualified in the top 8. That's the only way I could have really sit there and with chest sit there and say to you, oh, well, we can make wholesale changes in this one, because now results in other parts of that league will affect obviously our position and where we are. Perhaps a number of draws come in there for teams we didn't expect, a number of losses for teams we didn't expect to lose, and we get a couple of wins, and all of a sudden it goes from you need 20 to 18 points to finish in the top 8. You might only need 16, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to see how well the other teams do to see how well we have to do. But for the first 4 matches, it's all in. I honestly feel in the Champions League, it's all in. It's the best team. It's 4 must wins to get those points on the board, and we have some tough games, but we're more than capable of doing that one. It will affect, obviously, for me, the options that we have. Where in the past we were able to use Europe as a little bit of a rotation, because we might have had a game against, we'll have 2 matches against, say, I don't know, Belgrade, for example, Red Star Belgrade, a team which we would say, well, we should confidently beat those. We don't have that option anymore. Every game is pretty much a very tough match, and each one of them is going to be one where they will want to win. We have to win. There's no sort of like accepting that, oh, well, if we finish 3rd in the group, we're getting Europa League. There's none of that anymore. It's going to be a tough one, and I think a lot of us and the clubs will have to basically it'll have to be lived experience. We'll all have to kind of see how it goes for us to see how it comes in the future. But yeah, boys, before we finish up, I want your score predictions. Rigo, what do you think the game will end?
Well, Man U, to our amusement, changed the streak of 2-0 wins. So hopefully now we're gonna do 2-2-2. So we did 2-0 wins, 1 3-0 win. They're gonna go 3-0 tomorrow against Forest.
I like it. Menti, your score prediction, please.
Might be crazy, but 4-0. Okay, why not? I like it. So why not? Be confident.
It's not crazy. I like it. I like it a lot. To be honest with you, Hassan, tell me, is it going to be 5? Are we going up?
Yeah, I think 3-0, and hopefully, like you said, that 2-0 before halftime, and after halftime there are some changes, and we see new players coming in, and 1 goal at the last for Chiesa.
I'm going to say 1-0, 0-0 in the 80th minute, and then Chiesa comes on to win it. That's what I'm going to say. I just want the drama and the romance. That's what I'm after. I'm after the drama and the romance. But no, I'll be honest. No, that's not going to be that's not what I feel is going to be the case. Diogo Jota, 6 goals in 5 games against Nottingham Forest. I think he'll be involved. I think this is a game that's like tailor-made for him. I think that the Nottingham Forest are a team who they've had a good start so far, no losses, but it's a team that I feel very confident that this should be pretty much routine for us, a situation where they won't be able to create too much. On a point made about Darwin Núñez, I actually think this game would massively frustrate him, to be honest with you. They've got some really big physical lads in their team, and I don't quite think that this would be the right game for him to come into. As a substitute, absolutely, but as a starting, I'm not so sure. I think he's got more chance of starting maybe against AC Milan, for example, perhaps, and then Diogo Jota kind of having some of the rest there. So we'll have to wait and see. But no, I'm more inclined to sit there and say probably around about a 2-0. I think once we get to the second goal, as long as we're not conceded, I think Liverpool will be quite comfortable with taking the gas off, as saying that there's no point putting more goals in unless one comes and basically is gifted to you. Get the game done. 2-0. That's how I feel for it. Arsenal fan Ty, hello guys. Hello. Good luck against Spurs this weekend. We'll all be watching. Don't you worry. We'll be watching, and we're looking forward to it as well, my mates. I'm sure you're looking forward to it too. Paul says to him, yeah, tough game for him. Right, everyone, thanks very much for being involved. Post-match, we'll be with Richie, 7:30 tomorrow. We'll have the one stream. So get involved. Hopefully a good win. Discuss all the action there. But until next time, Dan, Rigo, Menti, Hassan, LSE Transfer Room, put a like, put a subscribe in. And thank you very much. And we'll catch you next time.